All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Public Works Committee to order. Clerk Kramer, can you write down the time and take a roll call, please?
Alderman Sevenick. Here. Alderman Langdon.
Here.
Alderman Schmidt. Here. Alderman Tom Grady. Here. Alderman Ted Grady. Here. Alderman Rapella. Here. Alderman Nichols. Here. Alderman Taylor. All are present.
Thank you. First one on here is approve the minutes of the Board of Public Works for the 8/16/21 meeting. Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Public Works 8/16/21.
Thank you. Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Ted Grady. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Minutes are approved. We got eight discussions / action items. The first one, do I have a motion? Alderman Taylor.
Mr. Chairman, I'll take 1 through 8 and make a motion to adjourn. No, I'm kidding. Payment, Northeast Asphalt, Inc., Contract Unit 2021-10, Street Construction Rehabilitation, in the amount of $481,190.50, payment number 3.
Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Grady. Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call, please, Clerk Kramer. Clerk Kramer? Oh.
I wanted to make a statement
I'm
on
sorry.
where the project is. Sorry, Alderman Langdon.
Yes.
Currently, we're about 50% done with the project. Nicolay Boulevard should have surface on later this week, providing weather holds out. Lake Park Village should be wrapping up probably tomorrow, hopefully. Again, weather dependent. And the streets around the high school are complete. They will be working on 8th Street east of Racine, starting maybe later this week. Jefferson and Lisbon also around that time.
Yep. Thank you. Any discussion? Clerk Kramer, roll call, please.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Number 2, do I have a motion? Alderman Taylor?
I'll make a motion for a change order, Summers Construction Company, Contract Unit 2021-06, Baldwin Reconstruction, deduct $3,807.24, final.
Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Ted Grady. Any discussion on the final payment? Seeing none, Clerk Kramer, roll call, please.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Number 3, Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion for payment Summers Construction Company, Contract Unit number 2021-06, Baldwin Street Reconstruction, in the amount of $33,209.38, final.
Final. Second. Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Ted Grady. Any discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Kramer, roll call, please.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Number 4, Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion for a change order for Ulner Asphalt Sealers, LLC, Contract Unit 2021-04, asphalt concrete, pavement crack sealing, various streets, at $32.87, final.
Thank you. Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Ted Grady. Any discussion? Second. Alderman Sevenick.
Just earlier, James, thank you, Chair.
Yes.
James had mentioned
I saw you looking at me.
that he cracked that we're doing crack sealing on Broad Street already, but I don't see Broad Street listed on here.
So
is that last year or what's up? Go ahead.
no. So part of our policy that we're moving forward with some of our pavement maintenance is we are crack sealing our streets on every other year cycle. So, Broad Street would have been paved in 2019, 2 years ago. So we are going through and we're sealing that curb line joint. If there's some minor miscellaneous cracks throughout the pavement, we're doing those. You know, it's to help the pavement and the life of that pavement last longer. It should cut down on our sealing costs over time. Some of the streets that we seen this year, we went a long ways with the dollar amount that we had. We got a lot further than what we thought we were going to be able to, which is a really good thing. So we should be prolonging our pavement life. So that's the intent with
I
that.
do see Broad Street here, but I'm not sure where on Broad. But anyways, I like the idea along the curbs because we have that issue where the curb's always popping up. And then that's where we have issues with water getting in there and then ice and it moving up and then our streets are ruined. So I like that. So thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Number 5, Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. That's why we have an opportunity with the new subdivisions where the people
Oh,
are
sorry.
building their brand-new homes
Call
to
Kramer,
put
roll call.
concrete in, and then we don't have to do this type of sealing and things like this. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Alderman Taylor, number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion for payment, Fauner Asphalt Sealers LLC contract unit number 2021-04, asphalted concrete pavement, crack sealing various streets, $75,033.56 final.
Thank you. Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Ted Grady. Any discussion? No discussion. Clerk call Kramer, roll call, please.
Motion carries 8-0.
Number 6, Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve the street use application, 28th Annual St. Joe's Program, 5K Run Walk, Saturday, October 9th, 2021, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., Pace Setters Running Club.
Thank you. Second? Second. Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Ann Schmidt. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion. Clerk Kramer, roll call, please.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Number 7, Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion for a resolution for STP Urban Construction Grant, Nicola Boulevard for Commercial Street to Annup Street.
Thank you. Motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Ann Schmidt. Director Laura, could you talk on this a little bit?
Certainly, thank you. So basically what we are looking at doing is compiling a grant application. It's a DOT grant for Nicolay Boulevard from commercial to Annup, and it would be a full reconstruct. We have dual storm sewers that would get consolidated, and we potentially looking at parking lane rearrangements and potential traffic flow issues that we would try and clean up. There's obviously study that needs to be done and associated with that, but at this point in time, it's very preliminary. The grant application is due October 15th. We would need, this resolution is strictly for designating signatory authority to the Director of Public Works for the grant application. And it would be a 2023 design, 2026, I believe it was, construction.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Alderman Randy.
Alderman Nichols?
Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman Becky.
Thank you.
I looked at the wrong side.
Speaking specifically about the project, Nicolay Boulevard from Commercial Street to Annap Street, would this also involve any of that intersection with Washington, First Street, Commercial Street, and Nicolay Boulevard?
To a certain extent, yes, to try to clean up the westbound traffic turn lanes. So where you would potentially be turning left onto First Street and people go left onto Commercial Street, we would try to do some consolidation there and clean that up. Potentially remove the islands. It would encompass the intersection of like Third and up Nicolay. It would encompass that. Traffic signals at that intersection. You know, and then you have a lot of right-of-way, you have a lot of road width, we have options with bike lanes, we have a lot of options to kind of sort through. This is just kind of, there's an option there to apply for this grant, and that's, you know, what we're doing.
And with the design, we will be looking at, we would likely be having to do a traffic study for all modes of transportation to determine what is the best option. So that will be coming back. There's a lot of work that still has to be done with this.
And this all would be
Moving
done
forward.
in partnership with Nina, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And this is with the assumption that we would be awarded this grant.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, if we're not awarded the grant, then we do something different. We construct it ourselves and whatnot.
Okay. Thank you for that. And this resolution as presented tonight doesn't reference Nicolay Boulevard from Commercial Street to Annap Street. Is there a way to incorporate that into this resolution so that a year from now we know what we voted on?
That can certainly be incorporated, yes.
Okay, so it would go to council at the next meeting, correct?
Yes, I would revise that before council.
Great, thank you.
And I didn't hear what you were going to add.
That this is a resolution authorizing the application for a road project and specifically state that it's Nicolay Boulevard from Commercial Street to Annap Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. They say. Would that have to be Washington in there too? It have to be? No. Okay. It's gonna be anyway. Okay, any further discussion? See no one, Clerk Kramer, roll call please.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Number 8. Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this being put on the agenda. It's a big-ticket item, and it's nice to have the information in front of us. I had couple questions here. On item 1, the aesthetics amenities funded by the city. Number 1, concrete terrace, colored terrace. And it says to match a terrace section on recently reconstruction on a portion of Main Street. What color is this going to be? Is there options for the council to vote on this? Or?
It would be the same gray that's on Main Street out here right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then decorated pedestals. What are the decorated pedestals?
The light poles would be the same as what exists downtown, with the exception of there's 2 30-foot poles at the roundabout on this side of the bridge that have cameras for the bridge operation. Those poles most likely will differ in look from the rest of them, just because they're 30-foot poles and you can't get a standard pole in the same standard arms. So we're trying to work through that.
Is this on item 3, decorated pedestals, 12 decorated pedestals?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what I was looking
No,
at.
I'm sorry, Alderman
Okay.
Taylor. I'm wrong on that. Ignore me.
Anybody know what that is? Decorated pedestals, 12?
Alderman Tom Grady?
Those are the brick pedestals that the lights will be on top of? On the bridge.
Oh, okay,
So they'll be the same color as the bridge?
okay. Thank you. And then the ornate railing, number 2, under the bottom item, the finished color will match the bridge operator's roof. What color is that? What?
Color?
Bronze? Okay. And I noticed that we did have some TIF funding that we approved in different matters, and on top of this 500,000 budgeted, how much more did we put in with TIF money? Anybody know that, Don?
If I may, Chair. So
Oh.
basically, when we had went through the aesthetics with the Racine Street Bridge, we set a $500,000 budget. We didn't set aside funds to replace that. So when we were working through these TIF amendments, we were looking at supplementing, so adding the 500,000 as the TIF dollars. So the TIF dollars would pay for those Racine Street Bridge amenities. So it's the same pool of funds. So the funds that we're looking at modifying with the TIFs that have recently come through, that is the same funds that we're looking at setting aside. Because basically it was set aside without an actual account tied to that. That's what we're looking at doing with the TIFs.
Okay. And then the bottom, staff is looking for direction on, the Black Bridge accents, facade, operator house, colored lighting under the bridge, and allocating the remaining funds to pocket parks near and upon the bridge. So how much input will we have on that process?
Alderman Langdon, if I may.
Oh, yes. Director Laura, go ahead.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
So basically, the intent of bringing this here today would be to get direction from council on the additional amenities that we would like to pursue. So the dollar amounts that were outlined were our DOT contract quantities, that are bid quantities. So those are already set in stone, already decided upon by the committee, the aesthetics committee. So that's where we come up with that 300,000 and some odd dollars amount. I did want to point out that there is another $10,000 not in the DOT contract that is going to need to be allocated for landscaping, since we are doing the, I should say, trees and bushes and shrubs, that sort of landscaping. Under the contract, they are doing the edging. I wrote in here grass seed. I did read the specials today and got further clarification. That's actually topsoil, not grass seed, so that is to be corrected, and bark mulch. So they're basically prepping our landscaping areas. We are bringing in and supplying the trees, shrubs, grasses, what have you, that we're going to be landscaping with. So that will be another $10,000. So that basically leaves us with 189, give or take, 189, 618.95. And what we are looking for is direction from council on how we would like to spend that remaining fund that we, plan for out of that 500,000. So some of the things that were presented to us or brought to us that we wanted to see kind of the feel on, we're adding black brick accents along the facade of the operator house, which I do have a rendering here that I can toggle through once I get back up. Colored lighting under the bridge deck. We do have a quote from, it's very outdated, so again, we didn't want to get down this rabbit hole without having the direction, so we wanted to come to you first. But we did have a quote before the work was begun on this from Faith. It was a $94,000 or $95,000 from 2014, so again, very outdated. And it included the Takeo Bridge, which was about a third of that cost. So I think it was just over $70,000, give or take, in 2014 for under deck bridge lighting. So just to kind of give you an idea, again, that's outdated. We will be working with the electrical contractor that's on this contract, which is Van Oort, on that. So you know, again, that could change things as well, but just to give you the rough idea. We did get a cost from the DOT on adding these black brick accents. That came to $2,750, so very minimal. And, you know, I know some discussion had been had about pocket parks, looking at allocating money that way. So we would like, staff would, to get a motion or some discussion, and then preferred to have a motion to have a direction on which way we should continue. We don't want to do design and spend the money on design on certain things if we're not going to do them. So that is why we are bringing this here tonight as we are moving along with this project.
Well, you certainly see every city putting the underdeck lighting and with the ability to change colors for different holidays or different occasions. And that's something it certainly is throughout the whole greater Fox Valley and northeast Wisconsin. And I certainly would like something like that. And are these the minutes from the amenities committee?
Yes, these were pulled from previous meetings. We've had multiple between the amenities committee. These items have gone to, these items listed that I have here written out also have gone to council for approval, so those have already been decided upon.
All right, thank you.
Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Chair. So, Tom, if I could ask Alderman Grady, if, what do you think of the black accents? Is that something you, in your,
I thought we had black accents in there. Thank you, Chair. In the very beginning, we had picked out 2 bricks, correct, Becky? Do you remember? I mean, it's been a couple of years.
Well, I remember picking out 2 bricks and then you going off with Catherine to pick out the one for the.
Oh, we picked out 2.
Okay.
But we went outside just so you get a better view, because you can't tell colors under these lights. So then all of a sudden, it came back that there's no black brick. You've only picked one color. They said, from what I was told, it would be too busy if you only had one color. And I said, if we didn't have another color, it's going to look like a corral to a dumpster unit for me. But I mean, you could just go outside and look at that dumpster unit out there, and that's what the bridge tower would look like without any definition.
okay,
So the black brick added back in at a minimal cost
okay,
really does add something. And maybe I'm speaking out of place, but I really do think we need an ornamental structure piece on the top of that bridge tower. That tower is so prevalent.
Can you go to that first picture for the public? So,
Would you,
oh, Randy, you spoiled it for me. I was gonna say, can't we have a pelican instead of a seagull on there? But I like the idea of the lighting underneath and changing for the holidays. We've kind of have that as a theme in our downtown, where the holiday decorating lights and the square, we have the columns, and this, I think the mayor will have fun with all 3 different clickers to figure out what the color should be for the year, but I like that. I like that a lot. It seems like we're still within budget to do these things. And what was the last item? Oh, the pocket park. You know, it really was a disaster that we lost that small pocket park, but I think this one would actually be more usable. And I don't want it to be too busy, but yeah, some type of plan for the pocket park, you know, a bench or whatever, so we have to address that at some point. All right. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make sure Tom was cool with the black brick added to it in case that got dated or something, and I'm not sure if it would be, so.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Thank you, Chair. I know we've set aside $500,000 for this project for the amenities, and we're up to $300,000. do we have to spend $500,000? Do we have to spend 189? This is just spitballing and brainstorming here to see what we have to do or something. Okay, thank you.
Just a little bit of background, as far as like the lights and things of that nature, there would be a fair amount of involvement, and that's why we're asking for that up front before we get the electrical contractor involved and start talking how we're gonna run conduit and all kinds of things, and then come back and say, yeah, we're not interested. That's why we're asking.
Alderman Becky.
Thank you. I have 3 things I want to talk about. The first is the black bricks. And I remember the committee discussing the, forgive my terminology if I have it wrong, the soldier bricks around the top edge of the limestone. So are we proposing to make those black now and still have the soldier? The soldiers are black, okay, and then adding the 3 black stripes on the walls. And that would go all the way around? Okay. Okay, so that covers my question about the bricks. The pocket park. I don't know what it will look like. I don't know. There was lots of discussion about the slope going down and the wall with the wall of the bridge. So I think there's a lot of question marks. 2 things that are really important to me for that particular area is that it is accessible. Right now, I think there's stairs there, which make it non-accessible for a lot of people, and that it be somehow connected to both, to connect the Riverwalk to the bridge to the downtown. There has to be some connectivity happening there. So those are the 2 things that come to mind for me with the pocket park: accessibility and connectivity. And let's try to steer away from landscaping and shrubbery that attracts red-winged blackbirds.
I agree.
All right. And onto the lights, the lighting under the bridge. I know this is a popular issue with a lot of folks, and people are generally supportive of lights, and I'm going to sacrifice some of my opposition to that. But I do think there are some things that we need to take into consideration when thinking about the lights. And that is the fact that water reflects light. It doesn't absorb it. So whatever we choose to do under there is going to reflect off the water towards residents in the condo building, towards residents on River Way, and towards anything that happens on the Bonta site, and towards the downtown residents over here. So we need to be very conscious of the amount of light that we are proposing, and keep in mind how that light reflects off the water. And my second concern about lighting, and especially LED lighting, is that it really is detrimental to wildlife in the area, especially birds and other migratory creatures. And so adding that aesthetic and minimizing the impact to both our residents and the environment are some things that I think need to really be taken into consideration in planning for those lights. And those are my 3 things.
Alderman Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to have the Bonta Faith Technology office building into apartments, condos, whatever. The Bryn development, you get 300 people hopefully get back to work at the Faith Technology 8-story building. And Something you could do that wouldn't take a lot of maintenance, instead of cutting grass, you could put synthetic putting greens in on those pocket parks where these people that work and live there get outside, enjoy a little conversation. The putting greens will blend in nice with the whole aesthetics of the area. You don't have to cut grass. And just a thought, somehow, I see people rolling their eyes, but that's okay. Just a thought out there. And, you know, you can't control everything with the project, you know. So it's just a thought, and thinking outside the box. Greg Kyle had mentioned it back when we did the Curtis Reed Square. Stan and I run the committee 20 years ago. And it was brought up at that time, too, that office people like to get out during lunch hour. They like to play golf, and here's an opportunity for them to get some fresh air and have some conversation with their friends. One thing with I agree with Alderman Nichols about the lighting, but one thing about the lighting today, you can control the intensity of it. If you go by Michael's Restaurant on 47, that digital sign will knock you out. You'd almost need sunglasses going by at midnight, and they can control that that light density. So we can control that light too on the bridge if we go with that. Thank you.
To get the right rhythm, maybe you could get rid of the seagulls with the lights.
Any further discussion?
Mark, could I
Yeah.
summarize just what I heard to help staff?
Yeah, Mayor Merkus?
I heard that we're good with the black brick bands, because we need to make a decision on that right away. And then I heard that our priorities, I think, are the underbridge lights, then the pocket park, and possibly some sort of a decorative piece on top of the bridge. And that we would bring some ideas back. We don't necessarily need to spend the whole thing. We would like to fundraise for some of that lighting if possible, I think. And I'm not sure, do you know, Thad, we turn a lot of the downtown lights off at, is it 11? So we could do that on the bridge too, to help with some of the concerns that Alderman Nichols has as well. These things don't have to stay on all night. And you're right, we can tone them down too. So that's what I heard. Is that what everyone else heard as well?
Summertime, it don't get dark till 9:30.
Okay. Just so Laura has some direction here, and then once we have some further concepts, then we'll bring them back for final approval.
There was one more thing.
Oh, was there?
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong person.
Yeah, wrong person.
Tom brought up a point about something on top of the tower, like a cornucopia, or not a cornucopia, pardon?
Like a weather vane.
Or something, so that I just wanted to,
That was on my list too.
oh, it was, okay. And then the seagull, right?
Alderman Taylor?
Big lake fly.
If you're gonna do something on the roof, you better do it now, because I got my boat up right against that. Took pictures up inside the tower yesterday, and on each little eyebrow window or vent, they have a lightning rod, and it's copper wire, and it goes into it's already attached to the iron inside. So if you're gonna put something on top, they're gonna probably wanna direct that for a lightning rod.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none,
If I could, please.
Oh, yep, Laura.
So the black brick is going to be a change order on the DOT's contract, so we would need a motion, if we could, on at least the black brick to proceed
Right.
with that.
I'll make a motion to add.
Make a motion to include the black brick on the bridge tower.
Second.
Okay. So do I, Becky?
Just for clarification, is that an acceptable motion, or does it need to be more involved?
It would be fine unless you want to add a not to exceed amount. I mean, that would be the only, if you wanted to assign a dollar amount to it. The current quote we received is $2,750, but that is up to you. I just wanted to point that out. As I maybe, well, Do we think it might be more? Maybe not to exceed 5,000, just to give us some wiggle room? I don't see it.
I would do a not to exceed, because currently, right now, these brick are in stock. And they're pushing for this. They wanted this answer a couple weeks ago. And if we kind of lost out on that in stock type, the price might have gone up slightly. So if you could make it in a not to exceed 5,000, that would be.
Okay. Now that you know the price, do we want to spend 5,000?
Sure. Yep.
So I had not to exceed $5,000 in my motion.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Taylor, second by Alderman Tom Grady. Any further discussion? Although, Clerk Kramer, roll call, please.
Do we have the screen switch back, please?
Alt tab at the same time. Voice vote.